The Protomen are a band who make epic rock and roll sci-fi concept albums inspired by Capcom's Mega Man series. It's a story in 3 acts, Act 1 simply titled The Protomen releasing in 2005, with Act 2, The Father of Death releasing in 2009, and finally Act 3, This City Made Us coming out in 2026, a decade and a half after the last part of the story. The band has done a lot more over the years, like covers, live performances, and another album, but for this video we're going to focus on analyzing the first 2 acts of the story told in those core concept albums and why I love them a lot. I won't analyze Act 3, but I will address it at the end of the video. The story of Act 1 stars Mega Man, a robot built by Dr. Light on a quest to get vengeance for his fallen brother Protoman. Protoman was built to protect humanity and died doing so, as they refused to fight with him as the city fell to darkness. Now in classic Mega Man was not made as a combat robot like Protoman, his brother. Originally named Rock, he started off as just a helper bot son for Dr. Light, but later taking on the mantle of a battle robot for justice and peace as Dr. Wily's villainous antics proved too massive for mankind to handle alone. There's a few key parts of this backstory that informs the themes explored in these albums, that being the lone hero against one oppressive force. Now that makes sense in a single-player video game where you're just controlling one character against a bunch of other guys, but the Protomen twist this concept to enhance the dystopian angle this rock opera is going for. Established in Act 1 and going throughout the other 2 albums is the idea that the collective of mankind is being complacent with the hell they find themselves in. Humanity thought they could rely on a lone hero of Protoman to do all the work for them, but he couldn't do it alone. When Mega Man takes action against Wily's forces, humanity sadly repeats what they did, relying on one hero to save the day instead of themselves. Though with Mega Man's quest, it's a bit different and more tragic, as Wily's robots are being led by a rebuilt Protoman, who gets my favorite song in the act, The Stand, a powerful but heartbreaking ballad about the rival robot's emotional breakdown, how he believes that there are no heroes left in man due to how they abandoned him during his initial fight, and the doomed fate of the brothers' eventual battle. And that doomed fate is perfectly instrumented in the final song of Act 1, it's Sons of Fate, where Protoman dies, and in his grief, Mega Man leaves those of humanity who watched the battle to die, for they were driven by bloodshed, not hope for a better tomorrow. Very controversial story choice to end the album with, but I think it ultimately works as both a shocking twist and a tragic end to the story. This is enhanced with how the song ends with humans screaming out their final words, but it gets quieter and quieter as Mega Man walks away, a haunting choice to illustrate the tragedy. A major theme of the Protomen story is criticizing the idea of hero worship, which is portrayed through the inaction of humanity being its greatest failing. All the humans want to do is boost and suck up to the powerful or those who believe they are powerful in hopes they can help them with their problems, when in reality we must take life into our own hands if we truly want to be free. And the only people who are free are those who believe it. This might be a hot take, but Act 1 is my favorite Protomen album. I love Act 2 and 3, don't get me wrong, but I love the experimental, dark, hard rock musical composition present here, though there's still more greatness to come in a bit.
Le journal du monde Nintendo avec Mario.
Megaman est plus méga que jamais. Il souffle, Herman. Il refroidit complètement Hitman et envoie Metalman à la casse. Dr. Wily, est-ce que ça bouleverse vos plans de conquête de l'univers?
Oh non, vous oubliez mes super robots, mes poules atomiques et toutes mes autres créatures.
Dr. Wily, merci, mais le mot de la fin sera pour Megaman 2.
Act 2 is contained in the album The Father of Death, and is a prequel story revolving around the tragedy and consequences of Dr. Light and Dr. Wily's falling out. Dr. Light lost his father to hard, laborious work in the mines and sees the Robot Masters as a way to let humanity be free from doing the dangerous manual labor that cost them so much time and lives. However, Wily didn't want to help humanity's future, he wanted to enforce it, leading him to kill Emily, Dr. Light's wife, and frame the good doctor for said heinous action. I want to mention a segment in Wily's big solo villain song, The Hounds. The people ask the name of Emily, to which Wily responds with, "Doesn't matter," which has multiple layers to it. First, Wily is a really evil bastard. Second, through the liner notes, it's revealed that Wily was in love with Emily before killing her due to her allegiance with Light, further giving layers to Wily's hatred and punishment of Light through the act. And third, Wily is a really evil bastard, like oh my god. By this point in the story, Light has been framed and shamed for the murder, but is still ultimately alive as Wily's fancy robots go on to lead humanity into a golden age too good to be true, leading us to my favorite character in all of the Protomen, Joe. Despite growing up in Wily's robotic utopia where most of humanity is pleased or at the very least apathetic of the state of things, Joe is not. Joe has most of his worldview shaped by cool action movies about rebellion and hope, leading him to being often portrayed as a dangerous hot-headed dreamer who's willing to put everything on the line, including his own life, for a better tomorrow. In his introduction song, he gets sick of the saddening status quo of the city, so he decides to embark on a quest for the future. While Joe doesn't know where to begin on this quest, he's happy to even shake up his routine even a little bit by riding on his motorcycle into parts unknown. Breaking Out is one of my favorite Protomen songs, a song that instills me with so much motivational hope about things that can only start to change with you. You can't always wait for the perfect time to take action, you gotta be the change you want to see when you're ready. Eventually, Joe and Light meet up on the outskirts of the city with their philosophies gelling together well to the point where they scheme a plan to take back the city in the fan-favorite song, Light Up the Night. While the mission to stop Wily's ambition was going as planned, it was too late. Wily constructed a counter-move that stopped the plan and killed Joe in the process, which gave Wily an excuse to put the city under martial law, where the true dystopia can begin. Light almost gave up. His wife is dead, his new friend died, humanity hates him, what else is left to fight for? However, after reading an old letter from Emily, Light realizes there's still work that must be done, leading him to the creation of Protomen, a robot that can truly protect humanity. Right? Act 2 is a phenomenal prequel, further enforcing the themes about taking matters into your own hands through the characters of Light and Joe. Light represents the older generation, motivated by tales of first-hand trauma and hardship, while Joe represents the younger generations who are inspired to do better through storytelling, both real and fictional. Both are valid ways to motivate yourself to do the right thing, though Joe's young recklessness did lead him to his downfall, with Light being too old to help out other than with his machinery. Such fascinating similarities and contrasts between these two, and you can definitely see the impact Joe made on Light through the characterization of Protomen and Mega Man in Act 1. Now as we wrap up the video, let me address Act 3. The album is fully out by the time of this video's creation, but both the 2026 MagFest performance and the physical album releases hinted at more Protomen songs coming soon. Whether it's going to be in Act 3 Part 2 or Act 4 remains to be seen, but either way, I don't have the liner notes for what's out of Act 3 yet, so I don't feel comfortable giving a concrete thematic analysis like I did the first two acts. However, I have listened to the album multiple times and got the general story idea from online discussion to concretely say it's a banger. I know some were disappointed with the ending of Act 3 being kinda sad, but without spoiling anything, it's not supposed to be a gratifying ending. You're supposed to take action, rebelling against the complacency and bloodthirsty nature of humanity showcased in previous acts. It's up to you, the audience, to fight for a better world now. It's up to you to light up the night.